Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Harold Downs, and I am here to talk about some potential severe weather that could happen later on this week, specifically on Friday, for the mainly for the Illinois, Northwest Indiana area. That's what we're going to be looking at. But there's also areas down south that could have some severe weather on Friday. This is definitely more of a forecasting video than just looking at some stuff. So let's take a look at some models. Now, since it is Friday, it's gonna be more on the medium to long range, and there's still plenty of days for stuff to change. But we'll start off with the NAMNES first, assuming that the model goes that far. Now, we can't really take a look at the wind. Look for any troughs, but let's take a look at surface temperature first for the Friday. Hopefully it goes far enough. Okay, so it does. Oh no. Shows you how dumb I am sometimes. But let's go with the euro. Start off with the euro. There's supposed to be some cold. Let's go to Friday. So it's temperatures for Friday. This is actually around the time where I saw some potential for severe weather. So looking at around 55 in Chicago. Let's see, around Valpo, around mid 50s. This is surface winds, so 17 knots at the surface is actually pretty strong. Windy day. And then the cold front comes in. The low comes in. So it's an earlier type of day, usually a type of day system in terms of for storms. So 21Z. So if you subtract 3 from 0Z, that's 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. subtract 5 from that, so that's 4 p.m. So not really earlier in the day, but that's 4 p.m. Central Time for, according to the Euro at this time. GFS has pretty similar, a little bit warmer. And okay, so looks like the GFS shows the cold. This is your cold front right here as it's coming down. Let's take a look. No, we really can't take a look at anything with the Euro besides that. But we can take a look at wind speed. So let's take a look at wind speed. You have your trough. Interesting. Very interesting. So let's go back to 21Z. So 555 knots is actually pretty decent for 500 millibar level. Let's go down to 200. That's not as good. Well, actually, no, sorry. Down here though. Holy cow, that is a really intense upper level jet streak. That's nearly 200 knots. Definitely gonna have to take a look at Arkansas, see what their situation looks like, but usually you want it closer to 100 knots for really good severe weather. But I mean, it's Arkansas, jeez, pretty much 200 knots. But you're very high up in the atmosphere. Wow. See what the GFS says. So the stronger winds down here are supposed to kind of rise or propagate a little bit north based off of their model, and a little bit weaker upper level winds according to the GFS for that. Let's take a look at some lower level winds. 850, pretty strong. Pretty strong. 31 knots back towards Valpo in the 30s. Back in Arkansas, pretty similar. Let's take a look at 925 wind speed. This is very close to the surface. 75 millibars off of the surface of 1,000 millibars. Sorry, I'm tired. But 28 knots, so about a 10 mile per hour difference. We check the temperature. Let's take a look at the temperature here. pretty warm at the lower levels, 11 degrees Celsius. That is 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, 51 degrees Fahrenheit, not 49. Get the temperature at 850. Actually getting colder. 4 degrees Celsius. So 51 minus 7, and that is 44 degrees Fahrenheit. At the 850 level, 700 temperature. That is a nice big change. -6. So you definitely do want it to be colder. Not too cold though. 25, that's getting up there. 250 doesn't have it. But still, pretty interesting. Vorticity. Interesting. Okay, let's go back to the euro. Okay, no, let's go back to GFS. I want to see when the GFS has precipitation potentially. Early morning, interesting. Maybe a water spout potential early in the morning. That's interesting. Very interesting. Let's take a look at some Cape. So there is a little bit of a explosion. This isn't that much Cape at all. This is going to be a cold core type stuff. Central Illinois. Click down here. I just want to take a look at the sun and see what it looks like. Might actually be earlier in the day in terms of stuff. But simulated reflectivity is not the best. It's actually good for when you get very close to the event to use to kind of see where they predict storms to fire off, and that's where you can kind of go based off of that. But we see a marginal severe. There's no backing winds, but there is a little bit of a difference between the 1 kilometer and 6 kilometer wind bar. Is not too much though. If that green wind bar was actually perpendicular, so something like that, so something pointing down like this, then I would actually be like, oh, there might be some rotation possible for storms. Excuse me. Your SRH is pretty good. It's not quite where you want it to be for tornado, for severe weather and tornado stuff. Your shear is not the best. Definitely not a tornado threat. It is moist. LFC and LCO are pretty close together, but they're not. They're very close to 1 kilometer, but you usually want them at a kilometer below for tornadoes. That's your base. That's your cloud base. So these are going to be slightly higher base storms, which means a lot more rain potentially. But the DCAPE is only 568, so maybe more LP type supercells. Should we get one? Photographed does not look the best. That does not look good at all. Your elevated layer is definitely low, which is interesting. Your CAPE is okay. There really isn't like a limit to, or a minimum to CAPE for severe weather, but a good starting point is around 1,000. But there have been plenty of tornadoes happen with less than 1,000. Just depends on the system, and I think it's going to be more of a cold type of event. That's definitely going to bring a lot of cooler temperatures after it passes. Very, very, very small tornado probability chance of an EF2. Very low. Let me just calculate that out. I mean, that is very, very low based off of the numbers. That's a half of a percent of chance for any of two. It's possible. I can actually look up the SPC, see if they have anything day 4 through 8. I know more in Iowa and Western Illinois. There's more of a focus on that. They do not have anything on day 4 through 8. And I actually think we won't see any. We might see we'll probably see a general thunderstorm risk, but I don't see a marginal in the future based off of what I'm looking at here. Your lifted index is very low. That's not where you want it to be. I mean, all of these parameters definitely signify marginal severity. You might get like one rogue supercell that does get some nice structure and some nice lightning and maybe some small hail, but that tornado threat I don't think is there at all. 32 knots, bunkers right, so these storms will be fast moving and almost seems like a line of storms potentially. QLCS type of system, maybe. The upper level winds are in Illinois and Indiana aren't that high. In Arkansas, they are. So it's very interesting to see that there's not a lot of Cape. So I would say that's probably a stable atmosphere minus the area. So, but this is in Indiana or Illinois. So let's click somewhere up there. Indiana. Ooh, blue screen. What's going on? Marginal severe, so less Cape, less SRH, less shear. Definitely weaker winds with height up here. So I think if you want to chase this, you can. It'd definitely be smarter though to wait out here. But I'm still trying to. Unfortunately, we're not close enough to the event where you can pinpoint a potential start for storms. I do want to take a look at the dew point. That's what I have not looked at yet. So 40s. Usually 50 is a good starting point. But these are not that big spreads down here. Up in northern Indiana, they are, though. So it looks like dew points are... So, could this be a Thursday event, maybe? Let's take a look at the back at the Cape for Thursday. So, yeah, here's the Iowa potential that we're looking at. That some people are looking at for Thursday. I believe Hunter Fowkes is looking at it. So the shear is definitely better there. The SRH is definitely adequate. Still the LI is pretty low. Slightly, very, very good. That's a little cloud base. But the LFC and LC are like snap right on top of each other. Usually you want just a tiny gap. LCL is your cloud base. So yeah. Not bad. Not bad of a sounding. Definitely less. Definitely not as fast moving storms. Cape. Really no capping at all in this region. Photograph. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a round area, but that's still not a good photograph. And this isn't really has no chance of being contaminated. Interesting. If you're in Iowa, this would definitely be a thing that you can go out and take a look at. And then, so that's looking at Friday. And then there's a little bit of a Cape explosion going on here. This is later in the day for Cape explosion, though, which with the earlier sunsets, it's going to be really tough for instability to really take over during the day. I'm just taking a look at some soundings here. Dew points are not the best. There's a about a 12 to 14 degree spread between that. You usually want to keep that spread within 10. And dew points are sticking around 45 degrees Fahrenheit, which it's not bad. It's just, this is definitely not a classic May supercell setup in Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma. This is a cold core type of event, I would say. Now, again, this is the GFS, and it's really hard to get a good look at everything when you're 4 to 5 days out. So each model run, I'll definitely take a look at it. I do want to take a look at some supercell composites. Interesting. So GFS sees some potential supercells in Missouri, Western Illinois, and then some build up. A little bit up by Valpo, but again, it's 1 and maybe 2. Pretty high winds. Storm relative helicity, we just looked at that. Mid-level lapse rates. 7.5, not terrible. It's not terrible up in northern Indiana, but there's a reason why supercell is going to be definitely more apparent over here, because it's bigger at the mid-level. Low-level lapse rates. Yeah. Getting up there. I don't know, we might see something in terms of some nice clouds or structure. Here's your dry line right here. Drier air. That's actually going to funnel in, it looks like. Oh yeah, that is just going to, holy cow. This is going to get super dry. Jeez. There's going to be some winter stuff coming, it looks like. Dang. -6 degrees for a dew point. Alright, well, now let's take a look at our temperature for that time. Yeah, it's supposed to be cold, so. Nice little bounce on the, what the heck happened? So yeah. Interesting. So if I had to say, what's the contiguous US? Let's pull out our Epic pen. Epic pen. Ignore to update because we don't need it. Let's get some black. Okay. So I will say, in terms of severe weather for Thursday, based off of the models, it looks like you're going to see some areas around this area. And that area is going to shift east but get smaller. So you're probably going to see less of an area in central Illinois. In terms of Friday, that's not what I want. In terms of Friday, that's not what I want either. In terms of Friday, I think we will see a potential widespread storm event with the severe weather located more in central Illinois and eastern or western Indiana. You're going to have to make a little bit of a drive, in my opinion, if you're up in Valpo. So if we do have a code yellow in Valpo, I think people will definitely point out central Illinois. Is it worth it to spend a Friday driving to central Illinois for potentially just some nice clouds, some that are more of a high base cloud storms? Potentially not. So I think if you're a Valpo student, we might see our first code yellow. I don't think we're going to be going chasing as a team. But if you do decide to chase, I would definitely say for Friday, this is your area you're going to want to look at. If you don't care about school at all, go ahead and chase Thursday and chase this area right here. So Thursday, Friday. So if you want to chase over here. And this is not going to be a tornado event. This is going to be fast-moving storms. 32 knots. That's pretty fast. So take my handy dandy calculator. You're looking at around 37 miles per hour movements on these storms. I mean, moving east, that is pretty fast. But yeah, if you're a storm chaser, if you're in Valpo, I definitely consider a code yellow for this area for Friday. But chances of us actually chasing are probably little. But it is a Friday, and it's supposed to be later on in the day. So we're gonna have to wait for the models as time goes on. In my opinion, I don't think at this point in time it would be worth it to chase. So, my opinion, but who knows? So yeah, pretty good, pretty potential for a decent event in terms of structure. Might see a road tornado. Areas down on down here in Central Illinois for that Thursday before, probably in northern Missouri, southern Iowa. So yeah, but let me close that. I am probably going to call it here. This is when as time goes on, I'll probably upload another forecast video to kind of take a look at the differences that we've had before. But yeah, potential for severe weather Friday. Maybe our first code yellow if you're a Valpo student watching this. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys stay safe, take care, never stop chasing, and peace.